Thanks, Mark. So it's about time to get this tournament underway. Soccer City Stadium is a colourful bowl. We've got cloudless blue skies above the stadium, but there is a bit of a chill in the air. So much so that Alan's got that bobble hat on that we've talked about. And I think Desmond Tutu has put his bobble hat back on as well. 64 matches, 32 teams. It all culminates here on July the 11th in the final. And that buzzing you can hear in the background is the familiar sound of the vuvuzelas. I think Chris Waddle knocked it on the head earlier when he said it sounds like a giant wasp buzzing around you. And I think that's going to be a constant throughout the tournament. Gold and green all around the stadium. The gold shirts of South Africa and the green of Mexico, with a change strip for them today. They'll play in black, trimmed with red and green. And the teams line up like this. We've got 6 players from the Premier League on show today, 3 on each side. The South African team includes Mokoena, the captain, Dekachwi from Fulham, and also Stephen Pienaar. Lots expected from him during the tournament, and they'll line up like this: Kune in goal, Gaka, Mokoena, Kumalo and Thwala at the back. And the midfield players will be Modise, Let Sholonyani, Dekachwi and Chabalala, with Modise just supporting Pienaar, who's going to be playing behind Mpela. So potential for a 4-3-3, but a pretty flexible lineup for South Africa. With regard to the team that's been selected by the Mexican coach Javier Aguirre today, he includes 3 from the Premier League as well. Dos Santos, who's on loan at Galatasaray from Tottenham, Carlos Vela of Arsenal, and Franco, who is released by West Ham at the end of the season. He's resisted the temptation to play young Javier Hernandez, the player they say is the best striker Mexico have had since Hugo Sanchez. He's on the bench. So the Mexican side is Perez in goal, 4 at the back: Juarez, Rodriguez, Osorio and Salcido. Then 2 holding midfield players, Rafa Marquez of Barcelona and the captain Tirado, and Aguiar, Vea, Dos Santos behind Franco. And Chris, we're just looking around this stadium here. All of the South African supporters behind the goal away to our right are thrusting their arms forward. They're waving their flags. They've got their faces painted. As you mentioned earlier, the roads outside now are completely empty, which seemed impossible 3 or 4 hours ago when the whole city of Johannesburg seemed gridlocked. So much expectation on the shoulders of these South African players, who surprisingly have all got into one half of the field to huddle up next to the Mexican players, which you don't often see. The only man in the South African party who seems pensive is the coach, Pereira, but the players seem in a magnificent frame of mind for this match.
Well, they look very confident from we first saw them today when they came down the tunnel dancing, didn't they, as a team? So they're very confident. They know they've got the nation behind them, and they want to see a positive reaction. They want to see them play at a high tempo, and they want to see them go for goals and play the football they expect. But Mexico are a good side.
We're also a kilometre above sea level here in Johannesburg, over 5,700 feet. So we'll wait and see if that's a factor. It certainly won't be today with South Africa and Mexico, but it might be effective on some of the nations in this tournament. As we're about to get this World Cup underway, Mexico kick us off, and the opening game of the 2010 World Cup is underway in South Africa on 5 Live, and you will not miss a second of the games here on the home of live football. An opening match here from Soccer City Stadium in Johannesburg, and it's Mexico in their all black, playing from left to right in this first half. The referee is from Uzbekistan, Ravshan Urmatov, and here come Mexico down the left-hand side, and the ball towards Carlos Vela on the edge of the penalty area. He's tackled over there on the far side, and it'll be cleared away down the right up towards Pienaar, and via a deflection off a South African boot, it's going to be a Mexico throw-in on the left-hand side. It's thrown back into the Mexico half towards Rodriguez, the tall and rangy central defender who played against England at Wembley, and then forward towards Tirado, the captain, inside the South African half of the field, closed down there on the far side by Let Sholonyani, who we hope doesn't have too many touches of the ball because he's got the hardest name to pronounce in the opening match. And it's Mexico just dictating things in the early moments of this game, and there is Let Sholonyani with a foul on the far side on Osorio, and it's a Mexico free kick.
I tell you what, even from now, I was expecting South Africa to come out of the blocks and really get his crowd and get at Mexico. They haven't. They've dropped deep. They're basically 10 yards outside it in the box. 1 up front, everybody behind the ball. They've got a line of 5 at times, marking 2. And Mexico can just do what they want with the ball at the minute, and it just shows how much respect they've got by this side.
Similar start that Mexico made at Wembley against England. Here's Tirado, the captain, midway inside the South African half on this right-hand side. Just exchanges passes there with Juarez. And then the challenge comes in, but they don't win it back. And here's Aguiar on the right edge of the penalty area. Dangerous ball into the middle. Goalkeeper fumbles it. Shot comes in from Dos Santos, and it's deflected wide off Moquena and behind for a corner. And they were so close, Mexico, to scoring the tournament's first goal.
That was a fantastic delivery. Goalkeeper, I've said before, he's very erratic. He comes out, he dives at his feet, he's very brave. Dos Santos just couldn't get on the rebound quick enough. It's like deflection, it goes out for a goal. But it's all Mexico.
Corner to Mexico on this right-hand side. Carlos Vela is going to swing it in. Just chipped it in towards the near post. Flicked on, cleared away from inside the 6-yard box. I think it actually took a deflection in there off Kumalo. And it's cleared away by South Africa and out of play on the far side for a Mexico throw-in. But they made a fantastic start to this game, Mexico. And defensively, they look very disorganised, South Africa.
He should have scored. He should have scored for me, Marquez. He's got in front of the man and just inside the 6-yard box. Hits the target, that's the opening goal.
2 minutes gone, 0-0, but Mexico have had a couple of very good opportunities. South Africa just can't get a hold of the ball, and all of that pre-match confidence we saw when they danced their way down the tunnel is evaporating before our eyes. Vela's ball over towards the left-hand side, towards the byline. Challenge comes in, and I think it's a foul that's been committed inside the box on the far side by Salcido, the left-back, who got forward, and it's going to be a free kick for South Africa. A chance for the supporters to breathe a sigh of relief, and a chance for Pereira's side to get a hold of the ball, Chris.
Well, maybe, but they've pressed them high up the field, Mexico. They're going for it. They're saying, look, let's get after this team. They'll be nervous, they're at home. Let's get after them. They're dominating possession so far. And what I like is Marquez plays as a sweeper in front of the two centre-halves. He's always available. Look, he plays a little triangle. He drops at the back four, allows the centre-half to join in. He becomes a centre-half. Very flexible team.
Well, we've seen African nations win opening games in the past. You think back to Cameroon against Argentina in 1990, Senegal against France in 2002. And it's worth mentioning that a host nation hasn't lost the opening match in the World Cup for 7 tournaments, but Mexico have made far and away the better start in this match, and Giovanni Dos Santos with the best opportunity so far. And here he is again, just running towards the edge of the penalty area, played out towards this right-hand side towards Aguiar, keeps the ball in play, closed down by the left-back Fuala, little ball towards the edge of the penalty area as Mexico keep the pressure on. The ball is with the Tirado, chipped into the penalty area, breaks towards Giovanni again, who plays it back into the middle, and it's headed away by Moquena. But it's all hands to the pumps defensively right now for South Africa, with Mexico in complete control, Chris Waddle.
I just like the shape of the team. They've got players who can run with the ball, and very mobile, technically excellent. And what they do is they just play 2 at the back. They set the full-backs, go on, don't play as wingers. Everybody comes inside, allows Vela, Dos Santos, 3 rows really, and nobody can get close to them.
We've played approaching 5 minutes here on 5 Live in Soccer City Stadium, and they've hardly been out of their own half, South Africa. Here's Giovanni Dos Santos, floats in the cross into the middle towards Carlos Vela, and that's a comfortable take by Kune, the goalkeeper from Kaiser Chiefs in all red, plays it forward quickly. Umpella with a foul on Rodriguez, and it's going to be a free kick to Mexico midway inside their own half. They cannot get started.
It was a free kick, good kick, but it was a free kick. Rodriguez left one-on-one. That's Mexico. The two centre-halves, they don't come at each other. They play in zones.
Well, they are a form side, South Africa, coming in. They've not lost a match under Carlos Alberto Pereira. 12 unbeaten. They beat Denmark in their final warm-up match for this, but it's hard to see on the evidence of this opening 5 minutes or so. 0-0. Here's Giovanni Dos Santos. Manages to play the ball out towards the far side of the field where Salcido had got forward again. He can't keep it in play, and it's gone out for a throw-in over there on the far side. It's interesting you mentioned the fullbacks, Chris, because both Salcido on the left and Juarez on the right at times are as high up the field as Franco, the lone striker.
Look, if you look in front, we've got a terrific view of this game, by the way. And you've got the 2 centre-halves, they'll have the 1 striker, they'll take the fullbacks. Look, don't push on their players. Don't come back the end-mark zone and mark space. Don't push on.
Second game on 5 Live today is at 7:30, Uruguay versus France. And you'll hear that live from Cape Town after this. It's not slowed down the sound of the vuvuzelas, the sloppy start that South Africa have made, but they are a side feeling their way in the dark, really, in the opening 6 minutes or so of this opener here in Soccer City Stadium. South Africa 0, Mexico 0, but Mexico really should be in front in this match. The golden generation, they're calling this, for Mexico. They won the Under-17s World Cup 5 years ago, and the bulk of this squad is made up of those players, sprinkled in with the young talents like Giovanni Dos Santos and Carlos Vela. Now here comes South Africa on the right, crossed into the penalty area, poor ball in from over there, and it's going to roll out of play on this near side for a Mexico throw-in, and you do expect better from that kind of position from Steven Pienaar.
Well, it's the first time they've got up the field, hasn't he? Had a set piece, they sent the two centre-halves up, but they didn't deliver. It was a poor cross, it's gone behind everybody. You've got to say, people saying, what, they're the fittest team in the tournament. They're not using it, they're standing off Mexico. If you're the fittest team, you go and get among players.
Aguiar's ball forward, Franco was the target, Aaron Mokoena heads it away, and then bundled over from behind on this near side is Vela by Lucas Twala, the left-back, plays for Orlando Pirates here in South Africa, and it's a free kick to Mexico, just inside the South Africa half, which is taken quickly by Osorio to Rodriguez on the halfway line, and then out towards the far side, almost on the left-hand touchline, and the captain, Tirado. Mexico very, very comfortable in possession, and they've got that ominous look about them here in the opening moments of this match, that they can keep the ball as long as they want to. It's whether they can turn this possession and pressure into goals. You feel that is a very likely outcome the way the game has started. South Africa right now being totally dominated. Here's Franco, the former West Ham United striker, released at the end of the season. Tackle made on him, and then Pienaar is bundled over just outside the centre circle by Tirado, and it's a free kick awarded by our referee from Uzbekistan, and an opportunity for South Africa to get a touch of the ball.
Well, as I say, I'm surprised, you know, in front of this crowd, and first game of the tournament, they just look as if they've come out with no real plan. It's basically, can we get behind the ball and play in the counter-attack? I was expecting a lot more from South Africa.
Now here comes South Africa down the right-hand side. Medise pokes the ball out towards the far side to Gaka, the full-back, and then it was played down the line towards Medise, continued his run, can't keep the ball in play, and it's gone behind for a goal kick away to our left-hand side, to Mexico.
Well, there was a chance there. Tirado, for the first time, didn't track his man, and it was an overhit pass by the full-back. But it's all Mexico, and as I said before, I was surprised. I think they would have cut the field and pressed them and said, right, let's get among Mexico. The one thing Mexico are great at is keeping the ball, so get among them.
It's only the third time that South Africa have been in the finals of the World Cup. They missed 7 tournaments because of that worldwide ban during the apartheid period. 14 times that Mexico have been here, and they've qualified for the last 5 World Cup finals, quarter-finalists in 1970 and 1986. They made a good start in this match, despite not having a goal, as it's hit long down the left-hand side towards them. Pella, out comes Oscar Perez, the goalkeeper, and just hoofs it out of play for a throw into South Africa on this left-hand side. Twala forward, the left-back to take it, throws the ball infield to Dikachwa, the Fulham player, and then South Africa rather easily give up possession, and Mexico can cross the halfway line with Franco. Out towards the left-hand side, towards Carlos Vela, little ball in field, and then return to Vela, and then taking over for Mexico was Juarez, and then it's played out towards this right-hand side towards Giovanni Dos Santos, and out for a throw-in to South Africa. They've just lost that little bit of sparkle that we saw from Mexico in the opening 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, Suarez actually moved into midfield and they swapped with the fullback, and Aquaro's come down his right-hand side continues now. Suarez has gone in there alongside the captain, and Marquez just sitting behind, but they're very flexible.
We saw it at Wembley though, Chris, didn't we? That they're such a flexible side and such a fluid side that they've got this ability for different players to pop up in unlikely positions, which for a side finding their way as South Africa trying to do it must be very, very difficult to defend.
Very hard. And one thing what sticks out is every player in a Mexico shirt is comfortable in possession, and it's very hard when you're trying to get close. If you all don't go together, you only need one of the chain, which you're all closing down, one not to go, and they're out Mexico. You've got to work very hard against them.
It's Rodriguez, about 5 yards inside his own half on the left-hand side, exchanges passes with his captain Tirado, and then it's rolled back towards Marquez, and then Marquez back out towards Rodriguez on the left-hand side. All of those South African supporters who were jumping up and down before kick-off have just sat down again. Here's Suarez, forward down this right-hand side towards Aguiar, who's offside inside the penalty area, and that's going to be a free kick on this left-hand side to South Africa. 0-0.
Look how high the two fullbacks get. Every time they get the ball, they get in width and they go high. They just say, let the midfield in. It loves Dos Santos and Vela. What a system to play in, really. You've got really a free roll. When you lose the ball, you just look at where the players are, balance off on his own.
Well, they've got Uruguay in Pretoria, and then France to finish in Bloemfontein, the host nation, after this. But the smart money seems to be, if South Africa are going to do anything in this World Cup in 2010, they've got to get a positive result in this opening match against Mexico. They're in possession now on the left-hand side, played in towards Pienaar just outside the box by Chabalala. It's cut out, though, by the Mexico defence, and it's back on this right-hand side with Aguilar. who I think played on the right-hand side of midfield at Wembley, but he's slotted in at right-back here to start this match. But he's got so much licence to get forward whenever he wants to.
Well, if you look at the two full-back, look where the left-back is now. He's nearly on line with the strikers. The right-back now is his dimensions up here. And they just flood the midfield. Marquez is very intelligent footballer. He drops in, lets the centre-off, take the ball forward. They've always got an outlet, look.
Here's Salcido on the left-hand side, and then the player that Chris was just talking about, Rafael Marquez of Barcelona, fed out towards Aguilar on this right-hand side, and the bounce of the ball just took it away from him down to Loas, and it's gone out for a throw into South Africa in their left-back position. Just one or two of the supporters in the top tier of this Soccer City Stadium stand away to our right, back with that familiar hand gesture to try and lift the South African players. The vuvuzelas have just gone up a notch in volume, which I think by the end of the tournament, Chris, our ears will be ringing. We did notice as we were driving to the stadium today, people were trying to sell you earplugs for about £1.50 in terms of what it would cost in England with regard to the local currency. We didn't buy any. We might need them a little bit later on in the tournament. And we've just seen a foul off the ball as well. As the ball was released, Pinar was high on Marquez. Marquez has gone down just inside the South African half. It's going to be a free kick to Mexico, but the referee's elected not to show a yellow card to Pinar.
It could have been. I hope the referees are like that in the tournament, though. Just have a quick word. We don't want a lot of yellow cards. We don't want players suspended. But it's still all Mexico.
So 13 minutes gone, 0-0. 5 live from the BBC at the World Cup finals here in South Africa. Every game live from every ground right the way through the tournament. And we're back here on July the 11th for the final. Who will it be this time? Mexico in possession with Salcido. Back into his own half to Rodriguez. Forward to Franco. And then taking over is Giovanni Dos Santos. Wriggles away from the challenge. Aguilar, right edge of the penalty area. Wants to take on Thuala. Almost went down inside the box. Thuala dived in. And had he gone down there, the Mexican, that would have given the referee a decision to make. As it is, Chris, it's going to be a corner.
Fair play to the lad. He wanted to stay on his feet and try and get the ball. But I agree with you, Darren. He goes down on that initial challenge. That's a penalty.
As it is, it's just going to be a corner. We've had the FIFA Fair Play flag out. I think Sepp Blatter might have liked that, seeing Aguilar ride the challenge and not go down. But they've got this corner to defend South Africa from the right-hand side. Rodriguez has gone forward. He's the tallest player in the Mexican side. Franco's in there. Marquez has gone forward as well. And the first corner we saw from this side did cause a problem. Floated in, free header, and Osorio has headed it over the bar and behind for a goal kick. That was a chance. In fact, it was Franco who met it, and he met it totally unchallenged.
I've got to say, two different brilliant deliveries. First two corners they've had, Dos Santos. They just aim for a lane within the near post on the 6-yard line. And what Mexico do very well is they group together just beside the penalty spot and they block people off. And it allows you to get there. Franco again, free header. We saw Marcos with one just before.
Has to be a worry for Pereira, the South African coach, that the defence for South Africa was statuesque. They just watched the Mexican players start their runs and then were spectators as Franco headed it over. So 0-0, but they've had 3 fantastic opportunities to score a goal, Mexico, in the opening 15 minutes of this match.
I mean, that's what I said. The one fault Mexico has got is Ado and Franco was the answer. If Hernandez can put the ball in the net, then Mexico could go a long, long way in this tournament because they play wonderful football.
Well, he's on the bench today, the young player signed by Manchester United for a lot of money. Here's Kumalo, one of the central defenders. South Africa trying to build from the back. They're just taking an opportunity to provide a touch of the ball for one or two players who haven't seen it for a while. Here's Let Sholinyani, just short of halfway, and then fed out towards Pinar with the braided hair on the left-hand side. And now Thuala, the left-back. Forward it goes in towards the number 8 at Chabalala, and then towards Mpela, and then picking the ball up is Medise for South Africa. And then just blocked off as he started his run outside the penalty area there was Chabalala by one of the Mexican defenders, and quite rightly the referee has given a free kick. It was Marquez who got the block on just as Chabalala was trying to make a run into the penalty area, and this is an opportunity, Chris.
It was a good opportunity. We were talking about the balls before the game. Can anybody strike it? Who's got the powerful strike here and make the ball go? I'm not convinced about this Mexican goalkeeper, Perez. Not the biggest.
Well, he looks pretty short and stocky, does Oscar Perez. Now, Steven Pinar has placed this ball down with purpose. It's all of 30 yards from goal, but it's in a very central position. So here's Pinar of Everton over the ball, the first opportunity in the World Cup finals for the host nation South Africa. Mexico have a wall of 5, and Pinar is ready. and he strikes it right-footed over the wall but can't get it down, and it's a goal kick away to our left-hand side for Mexico.
Oh, I've got to say, what a wasted opportunity. You need somebody to go up, first free kick, go and strike it, and go and hit the target, make the goalkeeper work. Never going to go in from there, trying to bend it over the wall.
0-0, 17 minutes gone, and here come Mexico over the halfway line. Little ball played forward towards Salcido, has gone from the left-back position to the right-hand side of the field. Aguilar pushes it behind Thuala, gets to the byline, chips it into the middle, and claimed by Cune, the goalkeeper. But again, they just cut through them, Chris Waddle.
Aguilar's playing very, very well. But as I say, Mexico have always got... They leave so many players forward, there's gaps at the back, and it's up to South Africa to use the ball a bit better. We'll give a handball here, looking for a quick free kick, get away, he'll get a yellow card.
Well, he just won't let them take it, will he?
There's the first yellow card.
First yellow card, yeah, and he had no choice, the referee. Efrain Suarez for Mexico. I've shown the yellow card for denying Umpela the opportunity to take a quick free kick for South Africa. Just an indication, though, Chris, in the last couple of minutes or so, that they're finding their feet in this match, South Africa. Well,
what you'll get against Mexico, because they throw so many players forward, you can get them on the counter-attack. There's a lot of space. The two centre-halves are not the most mobile. It's up to South Africa to break a lot quicker and use the ball better.
Well, Medise and Chabalala are over this free kick for South Africa. It's midway inside the Mexico half, on the left-hand side of the field. And they've sent Mokoena forward and Kamalo to add some height in the penalty area. Still 0-0. It's been an intriguing 18 minutes so far in the opening match. Flicked into the penalty area and headed away by the Mexico defence all the way up towards Carlos Vela, who didn't control it, but they've won it back through Dos Santos. Vela towards the penalty area. Giovanni Dos Santos strikes it and hits it just over the top of the crossbar, and that was so close to an opening goal for Mexico.
Well, everybody talks about his talent. He's great at running with the ball. One thing in his mind, he's looked at Vela, there's no way he's going to get the ball to him. He did exactly the right thing. The only thing you're going to say is, could he have placed it? He went for sheer power. It's come off the outside of his boot, always going away from the goal. Got to hit the target.
So 0-0 here. We've seen two or three, though, very bright moments from Giovanni Dos Santos in this match. Didn't really make the grade at Tottenham. Ended up having that loan spell at Ipswich Town. Spent this season at Galatasaray in Turkey. But he started this World Cup in very, very enterprising fashion. He seems to be, at the moment, the key man in this Mexico side, Chris, with regard to creating chances.
Well, him and Vela are just dropping off the back four, aren't they? They look very dangerous. Because they push the full-backs on, there's a lot of space. A lot of space.
Mexico coming forward down the left-hand side. Here's the captain, Tirado, and he was caught late. In fact, it was Vela cutting him from that left-hand side. And it was a clumsy challenge by Medise, who was done by the speed of Carlos Vela, couldn't pull out of the challenge, and it's a free kick to Mexico midway inside the South Africa half.
Well, it's going to be the captain, Tirado, who's going to bend this in. They've looked very dangerous at set pieces so far from the two corners they've had.
Captain Tirado is over the ball for Mexico. Franco hovering just inside the penalty area. Just behind him is Rodriguez. Also there in the vicinity is Vela. The run comes now from Marquez. It's tossed into the box and headed away by Garca. Picked up by Dos Santos again. Out towards Aguilar on the right. Floats the ball in towards the far post. And Cune, the goalkeeper, had to reach and catch that under pressure from Rafael Marquez.
If Aguilar could use the ball a bit better. He's been in 4 occasions now, and his delivery, he had decent off his first one, but his last 3 have been very disappointing.
Plays his club football in Mexico for Pachuca. Does Aguilar. As South Africa come forward down the right-hand side now with Pienaar. Infield it goes towards Umpela, who's dropped a bit deeper to try and get involved in the match. Then Chabalala picks it up on this left-hand side with bright orange boots on. Bends the cross into the middle, misses out the man in the centre, Umpela. And then the bounce of the ball on the far side took it over the head of Medise and out for a throw into Mexico on the left-hand side. But it's quite a lively pitch, Chris, isn't it?
Well, I'm going to say is that for all he's unbeaten in 11 games there, and they haven't played a team, in my eyes, who were worthy opponents, and they've actually come up against a team today who was, I tell you what, are very, very dangerous in this tournament.
Well, Mexico lost against England, of course, at Wembley. They were beaten by Holland quite comfortably as well. But they did manage to beat Italy in their final warm-up match. And what has been a key for Javier Aguirre all the way through this warm-up campaign, they played a lot of matches, I think 10 in 2010, is the fact that he tends to pick just about the same side. They've been together. They're probably as fluent a team as we're going to see in the tournament because they've played so many matches together.
They do it every tournament. They go together very early. They play more games than anybody else. Look at that terrific play.
Fantastic ball out towards this right-hand side. And the man that Chris was talking about a moment ago, Aguilar, picked up now by Suarez. Suarez on this right-hand touchline. Moves away from Shabalala. Infield to his captain, Tirado. And then back inside the Mexico half to Osorio. Now here's the tall, rangy Rodriguez, who runs towards the centre circle, towards the halfway line. Still 0-0. Mexico significantly the better side, and they've had 3 very good opportunities. Now here's Salcido, the left-back, who tries to wriggle through a challenge, ends up running into Thwala, and South Africa have got the ball now just short of the centre circle, but their passing is anything but crisp, and whenever they've got the possession, South Africa, they look like they're going to give it away at any given moment. Now here's Shabalala on the left-hand side. Infield to Pinar of Everton. Back towards Shabalala on the left. Sliding challenge by Osorio. And then picked up once more by Pinar. Now South Africa have got a bit of space with Lepcholonyani forward towards the edge of the penalty area, towards Medise. Into the box on the right-hand side. Makes a bit of space. Drills it low across the centre of the 6-yard box. Parried by Perez under no real pressure. And then he can gather. It's the midway point of the first half. It's 0-0. Mexico on possession alone should really be ahead, but to see you through to half-time, here's Alan Green.
Well, I'm afraid it's rather like what I feared before kick-off. South Africa might find themselves out of their depth in this group. They're being outplayed here, and it's practically outrageous that Mexico aren't already at least 1 goal in front. That was a good pass forward, though, by Tirado, straight out of play on the far side of the field. And apart from the vuvuzelas, Chris, there's not actually much vocal support for South Africa.
No, and I think what they're seeing, Alan, is a team was a lot of hype before the tournament, which they always get, the host nation, and they've realised, these fans, in this, the 20-odd minutes we've played, they've realised they're playing against a good side. That's
a great ball forward by Marquez, but it wasn't controlled by Bell on the edge of the penalty area, but they get it back. It's with Franco for Mexico. 0-0 here in Soccer City in Johannesburg. This is 5 Live. Every game from every ground during this World Cup, except no substitutes. Here's Rodriguez, just to the right of the centre circle, moving over the halfway line into the South African half on a wasteful pass forward, and it should be cleared by Thwala, the left fullback. Straight into Mexican possession again. Though good work by Impella. He hustled the defender into an error, and South Africa had the ball away on the far side of the field with the right back Gaka, and Gaka shoots from long range, but that's wasteful as well wide.
I don't think they've put 3 or 4 passes together in any team. They've all got jobs to do. If you watch Pino as an example, he's their player playing loose behind the striker. He's picking up Marquez man to man. Marquez is just walking him into areas, which allows Rodriguez, as we're going to see now, allowed to run with halfway lane with no challenge. Pino's more worried about Marquez, and it's very, very easy for Mexico. They can't get any pressure on South Africa.
Tirado, very influential in the midfield for Mexico. Plays it to the right side to Osorio. Forward it goes, chested back to Juarez. And now right of the penalty area. It's with Franco. Franco delivers it deep towards the far side. Controlled, a yard outside the penalty area. Mexico probe, looking for an opening goal, but that move broke down. And now South Africa can counter-attack here. Pinar, away to the far side of the field. They've got 5 players inside the Mexican half at the moment, but the play slows down. Pinar to the left-hand side, Lepcholonyani. Now to Chabalala. Chabalala midway inside the Mexican half. But there's no real conviction with the way South Africa bring the ball forward. They're hoping for an error by Mexico, and it's not happening yet. Rodriguez jumps, heads the ball down, and it's hooked clear by Tirado away to the far side. 1 bounce and out of play it goes. Still South Africa 0, Mexico 0.
I think, as I say, if South Africa can use the ball well on the break, there is chances, because Mexico really commit a lot of players. They'll either 2 centre-halves on against 1, sometimes against 2. So there is space. They're not the most mobile. You can get at them. But the way South Africa's passing the ball, not much hope.
The later game kicks off at 7:30 UK time. France against Uruguay in Cape Town. South Africa, you feel, to have any possibility of getting out of this group, mustn't lose this game. There's a foul committed by South Africa inside the penalty area. It was Pinar who was at fault, and it's a free kick to Mexico.
He doesn't need a foul, does he? Where's the centre-half going? He's going nowhere. It's an easy shove in the back. He's always going to go down. Linesman's 20 yards away. Easy free kick.
I was very surprised that Franco was selected and not Hernandez.
I think he's got experience.
I take the point you made, Chris, about youth, and maybe opening game you rely a bit more on the experience of Franco, but He doesn't look remotely the player that Hernandez
This is a player. This is a player.
Dos Santos reaching forward. Surely he was fouled. And the referee, yellow card for South Africa.
Yep.
It's Dickatoy, the Fulham player, who's been yellow carded. So it's the second booking of the game. Earlier, Juarez was booked from Mexico, and it was a clear foul.
Well, it's a clear foul, but Dos Santos has been proven a real handful for this South African team. He drops off but just about 10-15 yards behind the striker, picks it up 30-40 yards from goal, and he's got one thing in his mind. Every time he picks it up, he's off, he's running directly at the back four, and they just can't cope with him.
Well, here's a free kick for Mexico in a good position. It's about 30 yards from goal, but given the movement of this ball, is that Marquez who's going to hit it?
He strikes a terrific ball.
He hits it, not much of a run-up for the Barcelona player. The goalkeeper crouching a yard in front of his goal line. The ball's going to be heading in his direction. There it goes, but it's too high. Wasteful, again.
It's like, same as Pino, wasn't it? He's trying to bend it high over the wall. I'm waiting for somebody actually to run up and thump it and see what happens.
A la Ronaldo.
Exactly.
You know, or a Drogba. Exactly. Just belt it and let the ball move in the air.
Yep, Lampard does it. They all strike it with power.
Nearly 28 minutes played here. South Africa 0, Mexico 0 from Soccer City in Johannesburg. There are actually empty seats in the top tier on the far side of the field. Heaven only knows why. It could be that people couldn't escape the horrendous traffic of the city earlier in the day. But all the roads are clear around this stadium now, and the eyes of the world focused on the opening game of the 2010 World Cup. What a great shame that Nelson Mandela was prevented from being here through the terrible death of his great-granddaughter. Car accident in the city last night. South Africa on the attack for the moment. The ball, an attempted cross by Pienaar. He might get another chance at the far side. Slips it in, is easily caught by the goalkeeper Perez.
Well, I'm just waiting to see, you know, everybody's talking about Pienaar or Bella up front, and there's just nothing happening. They're just basically working hard, trying to close Mexico down. But when they get the ball, I've seen no idea how to break Mexico down.
Here's the Arsenal player, Bella, on the far side of the field, chipping it in towards Dos Santos. It was intercepted by Mokoena, the captain of South Africa, and goes out of play on the far side of the field. Must have touched a Mexican player last. It will be a throw into South Africa, who've given their fans next to nothing to shout about so far. Just short of the halfway line. Gaka, the right back, to take the throw, and he delays and delays, and then he just launches it towards Mpela. Mpela had two defenders around him. It comes out off the South African, out of play for a throw into Mexico. They're clueless.
And I think he's worked hard on worked on the fitness and what a game plan is. But at the minute, you've got to remember, when you get the ball, use it. They're just thinking about how to stop Mexico. When they get it, they've got no idea.
Mexico have possession, as they've had for most of the opening 30 minutes of the game. It's back with Rodriguez, and Rodriguez to Osorio. It's wonderful the way Rodriguez, Osorio and Marquez just interchange position. The most natural thing in the world. They can't pick up Marquez, never know where he is. That's a great ball forward too by Marquez. And now Franco almost slowed it down, but flicked away by the captain Torrada towards the left side, but behind Dos Santos, and is out of play. And for the moment, for the last few minutes, it's got very, very scrappy.
Well, I would say with Mexico, the football was great to watch on the eye. They go down the middle, they pick Dos Santos or Vela in that little pocket off the striker fantastically well. They use the ball, get it to him. That's when the two full-backs have joined in. They've got to go wide. That's where they're going to get joined, get players in the box. They're trying to go through the middle. There's a lot of yellow shirts. Very difficult.
It's 4:35 in the afternoon here in Johannesburg. There's a beautiful blue sky overhead. But I'm glad I wore this woolen bubble hat. And I tell you what, on the 11th of July, I'll be wearing a scarf and gloves. Because the temperature is dropping.
If only you could see him, listeners.
I know, it's a horrible sight, but I'd rather stay alive and stay warm. South Africa on the attack, down the left-hand side. It's with Stephen Pienaar. Pienaar's cross was poor, didn't beat the first defender, and it rebounds out of play for a throw into South Africa. Almost level with the edge of the Mexican penalty area. Pienaar wisely leaves it to Thwala, the left full back, to take, and then he throws it straight to a Mexican player. That was just ridiculous. Cleared upfield. Franco heads it to Dos Santos on the far side of the field. He's been the best player on the pitch so far. Dos Santos just stabs it back to Salcido, and Salcido gives it to Rodriguez. Osorio available, but Rodriguez very confident, he just strides forward. Tall central defender. You can see him playing in midfield as well. He's so confident,
they all are,
technically bright on the ball.
Every one of them.
Here he is again, and he plays it left-footed. He's two-footed, the central defender. Good ball to Aguilar down the right. Aguilar taps it in towards the edge of the penalty area. Vela wasn't perhaps ready for that. Glorious ball into the penalty. Here's the first goal. Is it? Fantastic save. Goalkeeper Kuna shouldn't have got to that ball. Franco should have made it 1-0.
Great ball by Vela. Another build-up. That's where they're getting the joy, especially with this right back down this side. Mexico. Vela chips it in. Great first touch. The goalkeeper read it. If he hits it along the ground, it's the opening goal.
I thought he couldn't miss, actually.
He's trying to lob him, hasn't he? He's trying to push it over him. It's just got the goal. He's got his right hand out and pushed it away.
South Africa very fortunate to still be level 0-0 here in the opening game of the World Cup. Twala back to Chabalala, and Chabalala moves inside in those bright orange boots, but he runs straight into a black-shirted defender, and Mexico have the ball again. Dos Santos. Goodness, he works hard, Dos Santos. He popped up on the left-hand side a moment ago. Now he's back down the right. And it's with Salcido on the far side, the left back. Leaving it to Rodriguez. Rodriguez feeds it forward. Great turn by Vela, and then was he brought down? He was right in front of the referee. And I must say, I was rather surprised about the choice of a referee from Uzbekistan for the opening game. But he's been well up with play and he hasn't missed the decision.
Well, he's given people a chance. He's had a word with them and he said next time I'll have to book you, which he's done.
Then, I'm afraid, Mexico rather waste possession there following the free kick. It's hit too high beyond Aguilar, and out to play for a throw-in to South Africa. Well, no host has failed to get through the group stages of the World Cup, but I fear for South Africa because France are bound to be better than they were in the qualifying campaign, and Uruguay are no mugs. Here's Franco to Vela into the penalty. Oh, and he crosses low, but ahead of Dos Santos. He really should have pulled the ball back square, not playing it forward, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Well, I thought he was a cert for him to come in into his left foot there. Just sell a slight dummy. Look as if you're going to play it, check back, and then go across goal with left foot. He's always going away, but Mexico, how many times? That's 5 now. Good chances.
Yeah, it could easily be 3 or 4 now. Yet Carlos Alberto Pereira said in the build-up of this game that South Africa fears nobody. Who's he kidding? Not playing like this will not beat anybody. Mexico have possession again, and then there was a foul there, I think, by Pinar. And I mean, that's about 3 or 4 fouls he's committed, the Everton player.
Well, he's given silly
lucky not
fouls
to be booked himself.
Well, I'm just surprised, Alan. He's been told to Marquez. Marquez is so experienced. He's just dropping back, bringing Pino out. Rodriguez steps into midfield. They've always got the spare man.
Salcido tries to chip the ball forward, hits a South African player, and then Salcido gets in a tackle, and the ball squirts out of play for a throw-in to Mexico. We've got a little over 10 minutes to go to half-time. We should have had a number of goals, all of them Mexico goals, but it's still South Africa 0, Mexico 0 here on 5 Live. What are you doing tomorrow? Are you with me? Rustenburg?
Yeah, we're
England, USA?
Rustenburg, yeah. I hope England get as many chances.
Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic? I think Wayne might stick a couple away. If he does, get the chances. It's hit down the right side towards Aguilar, but beyond the man who nominally was going to play it right back, but actually plays it right midfield. Throw into South Africa. Ball breaks to Chabalala. Chabalala, a bit dreadlocked, like Stephen Pienaar. Plays it back to the captain, Mokoena, and away to the far side, and Gaka, the right back, up over the halfway line. And they're working hard, South Africa. It's with Dikachoy, the Fulham player, now it fed towards the left side. Where are they going, though? They can keep possession to a certain degree. Mexico will allow them that, but then it's driven ridiculously forward, straight to Osorio. Mexico have the ball now, and Osorio gives it away. Not clever. The football hasn't been good, actually, the last 10 minutes. And you do wonder about Mexico. They look so good, but they haven't scored a goal. That is their weakness. Well,
that was the problem at Wembley when we saw them, didn't they? They got through on three, four occasions early in the game, and one-on-one with Robert Green at the time, and 2 good saves. But I've said that if they can get a goal scorer with the side they've got, they'll be very difficult to beat.
Well, there's a foul by Franco. A free kick to South Africa. Falls inside the centre circle with Chabalala. And then Chabalala caught in possession. Dos Santos does well, finds Carlos Vela. Vela running towards the penalty onto his left foot, slips the ball towards Franco. Franco back towards Dos Santos. Dos Santos shoots, hits the defender, loops over the crossbar corner.
Why, oh why, didn't Vela shoot? He's on his left foot, he's come inside the D, he's got nobody in front of him, he's got a chance to bend it in the bottom corner, or whatever he wanted to do. He lays it off. It was nearly an own goal.
Well, Javier Aguirre must be very, very frustrated. Mexico have had so many chances in this first half and haven't taken any of them. They've got a corner now. South Africa beware again. Torrado, the captain, to take it. Right footed in there, headed on, and it must be a goal, and the flag's up for offside.
Oh.
Well, I'm surprised at that, but the flag is up for offside and the goal is disallowed.
I can't understand that. Why does he give that? Tell you what, the block people off, brilliant. Another free header. South Africa haven't learned. That's 3 corners, could have been 3 goals. And why is this disallowed? Why is it disallowed?
It's very tight, but the goalkeeper had come so far that when the header came on,
There's only one on the line
from Mexico, there was only one on the line. So the decision was correct.
He got it right.
He's saying, I'm turning over a new leaf, by the way. I'm going to hang back from criticising referees. I'm not going to launch into them.
Hey, it's the first game.
Yeah, when I get my hands on that Brazilian tomorrow. Carlos Simon, who comes with, let's say, a bit of a reputation to be in charge of England against the United States. And a game you'll hear, of course, in full here on 5 Live tomorrow evening. It's a 7:30 kickoff, UK time, 8:30 in Rustenburg. Carlos Vela. Vela on towards Dos Santos, who is onside. 10 yards in from the corner flag. Almost tripped on the ball there. Gets it back. And now Mexico play the ball back, frustratingly. Marquez to Rodriguez. On to Torrado. Back to Aguilar. And now it's with Juarez. Aguilar again. And apart from one South African lingering around the halfway line, the rest of them are all in defensive positions. Juarez overhits the pass, not a good ball. Franco couldn't have met that. Straight through to the goalkeeper, who lashes it upfield. And of course, Impella is offside.
Well, Mexico, I tell you what, if Mexico draw this game, never mind lose it now, they'll be kicking themselves. Terrific corner again. They block people off ever so well. It allows people, Franco or Marquez, to have a free header. Then they were quite fortunate because the goalkeeper was in no man's land. If he'd been 2 yards to the behind, it would have been the opening goal.
I was going to say, if he acted more like a goalkeeper, it would have been a goal, because Vela wouldn't have been in an offside position. And again, it's overhit towards Aguilar, and straight out of play it goes for a throw into South Africa. 6 minutes to half time. South Africa 0, Mexico 0.
It's altitude out of kicking the ball so far.
Well, we're quite high up here as well. It's a very high commentary position. It reminds you of the one we had in the Bernabeu for the Champions League final. But it's a fantastic, clear view of the game. It started very brightly, particularly from a Mexican perspective, but it's got scrappier as the half went on. And we've only got 5 minutes left of the first half here on 5 Live. But a chance for Mexico with a free kick towards the right touchline. Dos Santos is going to strike it left-footed. All the obvious candidates are looking around the edge of the South African penalty area. Marquez and Rodriguez and Franco. Here comes Dos Santos, whipping it in. Great ball, header over the crossbar. And maybe again the flag was up for offside.
Vela. No, is it Franco? He's just got to hit the target. He's just got to hit the target. It's a goal. I mean, you're seeing his flag. He's not offside to me when I look at the replay here. He doesn't look offside. When the ball's taken, he looks okay. He's gone in there. He's just got to hit the target.
That's the second time a clear header has been squandered. I think the linesman did have the flag up for offside, though. We didn't get a replay that would have confirmed the rightness or otherwise of that decision. Such frustration for Mexico. Clearly the better team, at least 3 or 4 goals better, the better team in the first half, but it's still 0-0. So at the moment, South Africa, the hosts, are getting away with this. Indifferent performance. Gaka plays it inside towards Pino, and they have at least players inside the Mexican half for the moment, but can they pose a threat? Pino plays it in. That's better movement. Ball played back. Oh, brilliantly blocked by Rodriguez behind for a corner.
Well, that was great block by Rodriguez, but it just shows you, if you get a bit of confidence and you pass the ball, Mexico do ball watch. You can see that the midfield don't track their runners, and that's the best way South Africa, that's the best chance they've had. It's took them 40 minutes to put 3 passes together.
Yeah. Well, it's the only chance I reckon they've had. Certainly the only threat they've created. 0-0. 3.5 minutes to half time here on 5 Live. Corner to South Africa from the far side of the field. That's their right. And the referee unhappy with a little bit of pushing going on inside the penalty area. Franco's claiming that an elbow was used on him by the South African captain Mokoena, who's not guilty, I suspect. Anyway, here comes the corner, left-footed, far too deep. Goalkeeper didn't get anywhere near it though, and it's headed behind by a defender for another corner.
He did the right thing. Goalkeeper's not the biggest, he was nowhere near that. And it's a good header away by Franco.
Second corner in quick succession then to South Africa. Modise is to take it from the left side this time, right-footed. 4 players to aim for inside the penalty. Wretched corner. Didn't beat the first defender, who belts it away to play for a throw-in. What a waste. Modise, is he going to take the throw-in? Well, he's only got one target. No, he launches the ball into the penalty area, but it ran a long way. Headed away though by Marquez, and should be cleared now by Juarez. Juarez up towards the halfway line, towards Dos Santos. Dos Santos thwarted by Thwala. And it's with South Africa's Khumalo, finding his captain Mokoena. Khumalo again, balls on the halfway line. A knife flick to the left to Thwala. 2 minutes to go to the interval. This is South Africa's best spell. And that's a good ball forward to Chabalala. Chabalala crosses. Oh, what a chance there was for Impella. He's just completely missed the header, unmarked. Ball still in play though on the far side of the field. Notch behind for a corner.
Well, that should have been a goal. I know it's against the run of play. You can't get behind these 2 centre-halves. And that's a terrific delivery. He's took his eye. I think he thinks the goalkeeper's coming. He should be really diving for that. And that should have been a goal.
I can't believe he didn't head it into the net. He didn't even make contact. So a third corner in as many minutes for South Africa. Heaven only knows. The luck of the host, they might go in front here. Left-footed corner, deep. Goalkeeper punches it behind it. It's another corner.
Well, he should catch that, the goalkeeper. I know he's not the tallest. He's under no pressure at the far post. There's 4 corners.
Where have they come from? They've done next to no attacking in the whole of the first half, South Africa. But in the evidence of the last couple of minutes, you'd think they were the better team. They're not, but it's still 0-0. Another corner shift, and far post, header wide of goal. And again, that could have been a goal. Digachoy.
That was a great leap at the far post. Give the Mexican defender a little bit of credit. He did enough to put him off. He got into him. He couldn't direct it on the target. Just went wide.
Where's this come from, Chris, for South Africa? Can't believe it. South Africa 0, Mexico 0 in the last minute of the first half here on 5 Live. And I can't remember too many hold-ups, so, maybe the usual minute of added time at the end of the first half. Another ball hit towards the right side, towards Aguilar, but this time there were 2 defenders across to save South Africa. It's headed clear. Tirado now to the right side. Pass was a little short. Aguilar feeds it on. Ball still in play, and it's still in Mexico's possession. Now it's back to Aguilar. Aguilar now to Salcido. Aguilar once more. Mexico being forced to retreat for the moment, and now Tirado, the captain, has it. Tirado to Osorio, and mysteriously the ball goes back into the Mexican half. Have we seen the 4th official light? I don't know how many times. 1 minute. Oh, that's the usual suspect. 0-0. We should have seen goals in the first half without question. Most of them Mexican, but then we had that attempt at a header by Impala, who should have scored for South Africa. Mexico, they can only be very frustrated that they're not in front.
Well, I think in the changing rooms,
Aguilar, they might yet get in front. Here's Dos Santos. Dos Santos flicked the ball through, and the flag's up for offside again. There wasn't much in that.
Franco just drifts off. It's got to be very close indeed. Wonderful play. They must have had the ball there for about 2 minutes, Mexico. Passing it around, waiting for an opportunity. Lovely little flick by Vela. Dos Santos puts him through, and he is 2 yards offside.
Now the linesman, very good decision. They're brilliant officials in this first match. Mark that down, folks. It might be the only time I'll say that in the whole of the World Cup. The referee actually has done really well.
Done very well, very well.
Free kick taken by Kune, and there's the half-time whistle, if you could hear it from the din from the vuvuzelas here in Soccer City. 0-0. Your thoughts, Chris, in the first half?
I've got to say, Mexico have been excellent, apart from putting the ball in the net from set pieces as well. They've been well disciplined, they've moved the ball, the movement's excellent. They are vulnerable on the counter-attack. The two centre-halves are not the quickest. Marquez has been excellent. Dos Santos the pick. For me, South Africa, very, very, very disappointing. Never played any football till the last 3 or 4 minutes of the half, and there'll be a lot of shouting going on in that South African one, but Mexico played very, very well.
And I think the South African backroom staff just telling the players to get quickly into the dressing, where I think Carlos Alberto Pereira may have a few choice words to say to his South African team, and the Mexicans leave almost in an improvised huddle at the end of the first half, probably asking themselves, why, oh why are we not in front? It's 0-0.
Yeah, they've taken off the left-back Thwala, who was given a run around a wee bit in that first half by Aguilar, and Masilela, who plays for Maccabi Haifa, played in the Champions League last season, has come on to replace him at left-back. It was a strange half, really, totally dominated in large chunks by Mexico. Vela had a goal disallowed for offside. Franco and Dos Santos both went close with opportunities as well, but they did flurry towards the end of the first period, South Africa, but there were bigger smiles on the face of those supporters wearing sombreros, the Mexico fans, as opposed to those blowing the vuvuzelas, who had to ride a bit of a storm in that first period, the South African supporters. So this new-look South African side with the second half underway. Kune in goal, Gaka, Mokoena, Kumalo and Masilela now at left-back. Then Let Sholanyani, Digachwi and Shabalala, with Pinar and Medice supporting Umpela, who for large periods of that first 45 minutes was unable to get in the game or receive any sort of support. Very fluid and flexible Mexico side. Perez the goalkeeper, Aguilar, Rodriguez, Osorio and Salcido, then Marquez and Tirado, then Suarez, Vela and Dos Santos, Franco the big man through the middle. Mexico in black trim with red, gold shirts and green shorts for Bafana, the host nation, South Africa. And I would think that on the balance of play in the first half, Carlos Alberto Pereira might just have been slightly happier at half-time, Chris, the fact that his side did manage to hold out somehow.
Well, I don't think he could believe the scoreline 0-0. He's gone in there and he must have said to them, look, we're going to have to get closer to this Mexican side. We need a lot more movement. We're going to have to run the two centre-halves. They're not the most mobile. That's where they're going to get their joy. I'm surprised he hasn't put Parker on the other striker and played two up front and get down the sides of this Mexican team, where that's where they are very vulnerable.
It's 7 tournaments since the host nation lost the opening game. At the moment, though, the South African team are hanging on, but hardly convincing, really, in this group that also contains Uruguay and France. You'll hear that game from 7:30 from Cape Town. It's ironic, really, that when England won the World Cup in 1966, Mexico, Uruguay and France were in their group, just like South Africa today. And here are South Africa in possession. That's cleared away from the edge of the penalty area, up towards Mpela, headed down by Rodriguez, and there's a bit of a shove by Let Sholanyani on Tirado, and a free kick to Mexico just about on the halfway line. And similar story, really. They've started off this second period in complete control in terms of possession, Mexico.
I think it would take it. He'd take a draw now if you said, do you want to do a little? Oh, he'd take it. Absolutely. Now. He'd snap your hand off.
Of course, one of the options available to Javier Aguirre, the Mexico coach, is young Javier Hernandez, the player recently signed by Sir Alex Ferguson at Manchester United. He's been in decent goal-scoring form in the warm-up matches. They rate him very highly. There's talk of him being potentially the best Mexico striker since Hugo Sanchez, who scored all those goals for Real Madrid and Mexico, but didn't start with him tonight. Might just be needed off the bench at some point, though, if Mexico are going to turn dominance into a victory in this opening game. Here comes Shabalala, though, for South Africa. Down the left, crossing towards Medice. Very important defensive header by the left-back Salcido, who'd gone into the centre to win that ball and glance it out of play.
Terrific defensive header. As you say, he's coming round the back. It's an open header. He's focused on it. He's just glanced it away. Great defensive header.
Well, he's twice the South African Player of the Year, is Teiko Medice from Orlando Pirates. Decent goal-scoring record at international level as well, but couldn't quite beat Salcido to the ball, and then Mexico clear it towards the halfway line. First touch for the substitute Masilela, and then back to the captain Mokoena back into the penalty area to Kune, who I wouldn't say is a Rolls-Royce of goalkeepers. he flaps about a bit, but he certainly got the job done effectively in the first half, albeit in rather comedic fashion at times. Here's Pienaar out towards this right-hand side towards Gaka, who got forward a lot late on in the first period. High ball into the penalty area, intended for Impeller in the centre, and that'll drift out towards the far side where it's picked up by Aguilar.
Well, it's a vast improvement on what we saw first half. They've had 2 good crosses, well, that wasn't a good cross, but they got in good crossing position, the other one was. And they've actually got closer to Mexico. They're not letting them get it. Once they get over the half line, they're actually trying to get the ball off them a lot higher up the field.
Familiar drone of the Vuvuzela trumpet in the background. 0-0 here. South Africa against Mexico on 5 Live in the opening game of the 2010 World Cup at Soccer City in Johannesburg. And Mexico in all black, playing from right to left in this second period, are in possession inside their own half with the Barcelona player Rafael Marquez. Flicked out towards this left-hand side to Rodriguez, who loves to get as many touches of the ball as he possibly can. Forward towards Franco, cleared away by the South African defence, and then laid off by Salcido towards Suarez. Out towards this right-hand side as Mexico come forward. Very, very comfortable in possession and quite prepared to be as patient as they possibly can. They don't mind making their way to the edge of the South African penalty area, then going back all the way into their own half and starting again. And here they come again on the halfway line with Osorio, still 0-0. Osorio gets the ball back again on the halfway line, central position, feeds it forward towards Franco with the yellow boots on now to Tirado. Looks as though bright orange ones are going to be the fashionable ones in the tournament. 6 or 7 of the players have got the bright orange boots on so far in the opening game. 0-0, South Africa in possession towards the halfway line with Medici. Degatri from Fulham just manages to ride a challenge and find Pienaar, the 2 Premier League players combined, towards the edge of the penalty area, towards Medici, made a decent run, and that was scrambled away by the Mexico defenders. Now Tirado, the captain, just outside the centre circle, and then out towards Aguilar, who's midway inside his own half, and he turns around and rolls it back to Osorio. They're almost at walking pace in this second period, Mexico, but they've got the ability when Dos Santos and Vela get on the ball to quicken it up and be really effective. Still 0-0 though, and while it is 0-0, South Africa will remain pretty confident. Forward towards Franco, headed forward by the shaggy-haired Dos Santos, partially cleared, and then away by Mokoena from the edge of the box, only as far as Tirado. To the far side, and Aguilar, across goes Masalela, the substitute, the ball's thrown out of play, and it's a throw into the host nation, South Africa. Chris Waddle.
Well, they're going to bring on Gordo, the Deportivo La Coruña player. He's going to bring him on very, very early. I just think South Africa's dropped off. They've got behind the ball. Not letting Vela and Dos Santos drop off as they did with great effect in the first half. And it's up to them now to change it, because Mexico really should win this game.
Well, I think both teams have got a similar problem, because this is probably the easiest fixture for both of them. Uruguay and France to come after this. The 2 sides who are possibly favoured in Group A. So both of them will feel they need a positive result, as Sholanyani can't keep it in play on the near side with the ponytail, long hair flowing behind his back, and it's gone out for a throw into Mexico. On the left-hand side, Aguero in his grey suit on the edge of his technical area just waits for Guardado to take a drink, and they'll play on at this particular time and not make the substitution. So throw-in taken by Salcido onto the chest of Franco. Salcido then with a long ball out to the far side of the field, superbly executed and controlled by Aguilar. Infield now towards Suarez. Aguilar continues his run down the right-hand side. Closed down by Masalela, the South African left-back, the half-time sub for Thwala, who really struggled in the first period. Infield to Dos Santos, who started so brightly. Allowed to turn. Still going Giovanni Dos Santos. Edge of the D, and then he runs into one South African defender too many, and the host nation managed to clear.
Well, he's the threat, isn't he? He drops off, he's got a terrific turn of pace. He loves to get on that left-hand side, and he's caused problems all day.
Gaka forward towards Mpella, and he's beaten Rodriguez to the ball on the right-hand side, just outside the penalty area. Mpella infield to Medici. Little back heel then towards Mpella again. And an important challenge on the edge of the penalty area by Rodriguez for Mexico.
Fantastic challenge. He needed to win that, didn't he, the first one?
Space is starting to appear. 8 minutes gone in the second half on 5 Live. Carlos Vela for Mexico tried to play Giovanni Dos Santos in. Arsenal trying to play an ex-Tottenham, but this time the door closed on the edge of the penalty area by Khumalo, and South Africa clear. But they're just starting to increase the dominance again, Mexico, in terms of possession. Here's Suarez, central position inside the centre circle, moves further forward and then flicks it out to the left back on this near side, Carlos Salcido of PSV Eindhoven, and then back to Rodriguez, and then across the back line to Ricardo Osorio, and then once more to Tirado, the skipper. Lots and lots of passes, lots and lots of possession for Mexico, but as yet, no goal. 0-0 in the opening game of the 2010 World Cup, with Uruguay versus France to come from 7:30 in Cape Town. Remember, every game from every ground on 5 Live. The only place you'll hear it. And we're starting off here with this opening match here in Soccer City Stadium. Through the centre, into the penalty area goes left, Sholanyani. There's the shot, the goal! The host nation score the first goal of World Cup 2010. Fired into the top corner by Shabalala. Wonderful left-footed finish. And South Africa, Bafana, lead Mexico 1-0.
Well, totally a run play. Can't believe they scored. Give the lad credit, terrific run. And that's where they've been exploited, Mexico. And South Africa had a bit of joy. If they use the ball well, that's how they get in. Down the sides. And give them credit. What a first touch. What a fantastic strike. Across the goalkeeper, Perez. Into the top left-hand corner. Goalkeeper came, advanced, stopped still, top corner. Great goal. Totally against the run of play in my eyes. But it's 1-0 to South Africa.
And it's prompted the substitution that we're expecting from Guardado. Aguilar's gone off and Guardado has come on. But what a finish that was by Shabalala. He played it on the left-hand side, completely in behind the defence, and he had an awful lot to do, and he just smashed it left-footed across the goalkeeper Perez into the opposite corner. And what a story we've got here. South Africa 1, Mexico 0, and you wouldn't believe it on the balance of play. They've been so on top, Mexico, so dominant. Didn't see a cutting edge from South Africa at all, and they've pulled out a sensational goal to take the lead in the opening game of the competition. Here come Mexico now. They've been stung by that. Guardado's first touch, midway inside the South Africa half. Out then towards this left-hand side and forward by Marquez. Sloppy control by Vela. And South Africa, who have been buoyed by the goal, are now coming forward with real purpose. Mpela with Gaka running forward down the outside of it. Back to Mpela again, and now to the goal scorer Shabalala, who must feel 15 feet tall. And then out towards Medice on the right, just flicked out of play because one of the South African players, Digachu, the Fulham player, is slow to rise inside his own half, and they play it out. It's going to be a Mexico throw-in just to check on the fitness of Digachu. So that's why we've got this break in play. But what a story we've got unfolding here.
Well, it is a story. It's definitely a shock in my eyes. But, you know, South Africa, more organised second half, play a little bit better tempo, but it's a terrific goal. I know it's a counter-attack, but a great strike across the goalkeeper in the far top corner. And let's see how Mexico respond.
Well, the injury to Digachu is caused by a block by Tirado, the captain of Mexico, and that's been punished by our referee from Uzbekistan with a yellow card. So the captain of Mexico has been booked. 56.5 minutes gone in the second half on 5 Live. South Africa 1, Mexico 0. And as Alan Green mentioned before the game started, the tournament needed a big performance by South Africa and a positive result for the home nation. At the moment, they're on cloud 9. Here's Medice by the corner flag on the right-hand side. Quick feet from Medice. Teases Guardado. 2 or 3 step-overs and then settles for the throw-in of Salcido. You can feel the confidence surging through the crowd. They're blowing the vuvuzelas with a bit more gusto. They're waving their flags. And there's an extra spring in the step now of the South African players. Their confidence has grown even more.
It is growing, but they've got to be very cautious because this Mexico team has proved on many occasions in this game they can get in behind and give themselves good opportunities to score goals.
Remember, they're unbeaten under Pereira, the coach. 12 unbeaten in total, including a win against Denmark in the warm-ups for these World Cup finals. They're a confident bunch. They dance their way onto the field here at Soccer City Stadium. And after weathering a first-half storm and fortunately seeing a goal disallowed scored by Carlos Vela, they lead Mexico, South Africa by 1-0. Here's Vela down the left, forward towards Franco. Misses out him. Picked up by Dos Santos on the right-hand side. Masalela across for South Africa. Dos Santos on the right edge of the penalty area. Shabalala's all over the field. Gets a tackle in on Dos Santos. Keeps possession though. And then Marquez with an educated ball into the feet of Tirado. And then to Suarez. Suarez, though, forced back towards halfway by left Sholanyani, who just put the shoulder in as he won the ball. And the referee's given a free kick to Mexico.
South Africa seem to have raised the tempo since the goal, haven't they? They've obviously got the crowd behind them now. They've got a little bit more confidence. And they've upped the tempo. And really, as I say, if Mexico are a goal scorer, that goal wouldn't have mattered.
Well, is Shabalala going to join the likes of Oman Biik, Papa Bouba Diop as African players who have scored big goals to start World Cup finals tournaments? Because his goal at the moment separates these two sides in Soccer City Stadium, Johannesburg, with dusk just starting to descend. Free kick delivered into the penalty area by Mexico. Dos Santos with the ball, and it went right through to the goalkeeper Cunha.
Oh, Franco went down very easy, didn't he? Looking for a penalty. Referee had none of it. Good delivery again.
Here's left Sholonyani, and now Pinar, and then the goal scorer Shabalala through the middle towards left Sholonyani again. Just sweeping across though to pick it up was Rodriguez for Mexico. And they can come forward now in all black over the halfway line with the substitute Guardado. Plays his club football in Spain. Does Guardado for Deportivo La Coruña. Now Suarez out towards Dos Santos, right edge of the penalty area, takes on Masalela into the box, tries the shot, brilliant save by Kune. That was destined for the top corner, and somehow the South African goalkeeper sprung to his left and got it behind for a corner.
Well, he went through the gap. It was a terrific strike, and I've said he's a good shot stop by the goalkeeper. Very vulnerable on decision making and crosses, but that was a fantastic save into the top corner.
I think he certainly might be one of the most spectacular goalkeepers of this World Cup. Corner to Mexico, trailing South Africa by 1-0. Swung in by Dos Santos into the middle, headed away by the South African defence, and then Guardado belts it about 50 rows back over the top of the crossbar, and that's a goal kick to South Africa.
Well, what will he do? Will he bring on Hernandez? I'd like to see Barrera come on as well, a little right winger who played at Wembley. Was very exciting. I thought he played ever so when he come on second half at Wembley. But the obvious one is Hernandez. They need a goal.
Well, they do. They're the second lowest ranked nation in the tournament, South Africa. Only North Korea are ranked below them. 83rd they are, but they're a confident bunch under Carlos Alberto Pereira, this wily veteran Brazilian coach in his 6th World Cup finals. And at the moment, he's got the Midas touch for South Africa. But Mexico, we know, can create chances. But just like at Wembley against England, aren't able to turn possession and opportunities into goals, and they trail. Salcido to Guardado, forward towards Carlos Vela. Guardado again spins away from left Sholonyani. No foul according to the referee. South Africa in the gold and green get it back, hit it long towards Mpella. Out comes Perez and heads it away from 5 yards outside his penalty area and out for a throw-in.
That's a good ball. That is a good ball against Mexico. Intercept it, and Mpella, if he gets on his bike, he's got the pace of it, beating the two centre-halves. That's a good ball.
Still get the feeling, though, Chris, don't you, that South Africa would like a second goal just to take the pressure off.
Yeah, but they'll know Mexico. They're quite happy to sit and play on the counter-attack. They got a reward from it before, and they're quite happy to do that again.
There are some empty seats inside this stadium, which does hold over 94,500. It's not quite filled to capacity today, but the ones who are here are blowing their vuvuzelas, waving their South African scarves, and are watching the Rainbow Nation leading Mexico by 1-0, with a goal scored 10 minutes into the second half by Shabalala, and what a fantastic finish it was. Across the goalkeeper, fierce rising left-footed drive into the opposite corner, as we get a shot on the monitor of Javier Aguirre, who has a very sour look on his face, chatting away to one of his assistant coaches.
He's a bit like us. I don't think he can believe the score.
Now it's whether they can hang on, isn't it, South Africa? Coming forward down this right side with Medice, scrambled away by Salcido. Now it's with the goal scorer Shabalala on the left-hand side. He's got the long braids behind, tied into a ponytail, and the bright orange boots. There's a low raking drive bomb from De Castro, the Fulham player, and that just bobbled through to the goalkeeper, Oscar Perez. Chris Waddle.
Well, I think it's a good... you get 30 yards with this ball the way it's travelling, keep shooting.
Yeah, it certainly went into the top corner like a rocket, didn't it, from Shabalala. Here's Guardado, and now back to Rodriguez. The one thing we haven't seen from Mexico since they went down is an injection of pace into their game. They're still playing it at the pace we saw in the first half. They're not quite as effective, though. They're a bit better and more solid defensively now, South Africa. Here come Mexico, though, down the right-hand side. Gets the crossing over there. Did Osorio, the centre-back who got forward, and he was just caught as he crossed it. Not unfairly, though, according to the referee. It's gone behind for a goal kick, and Osorio certainly felt that.
Well, he tried to get his foot wrapped round it, didn't he, and put it across the goal. He's hit it into the crowd. And, but as you say, Mexico now are just starting to run out of ideas. 18
minutes gone in the second half. South Africa 1, Mexico 0. Neutrals would say the perfect scoreline to start off World Cup 2010 here in South Africa. 7:30, Uruguay-France from Cape Town. Live on 5 Live, of course, and then 3 games tomorrow. Starts at 12:30, South Korea versus Greece. Then it's Argentina versus Nigeria. Diego Maradona back in the big time on the World Cup stage. And then the one you're all waiting for, 7:30, England versus USA, live from Rustenburg with Chris, Alan and Mike Ingham as well. All the best build-up to the game, and every kick live tomorrow on your World Cup station, 5 Live from the BBC. South Africa 1, Mexico 0 here in Soccer City Stadium, Johannesburg. Dos Santos for Mexico, forward towards Franco, strong defending by Mokoena, then crossed in from the right-hand side by Tirado, and it's gone out via a South African deflection for a Mexico throw-in.
They still look a threat, don't they? But they just need that little bit of... Dos Santos is the one who looks likely to create something.
Dos Santos has a dink ball into the penalty area towards Vela, cleared away by Kumalo, the central defensive partner of Aaron Mokoena. And then it goes all the way back into the Mexico half and out for a throw into them, which is taken over there on the far side by Osorio to his goalkeeper Perez, and then back to Ricardo Osorio, who'll have to find himself a club after the World Cup finals, released by Stuttgart at the end of the season. Here's Guardado on the far side, back to Osorio again. There's a lot more organisation, though, about South Africa in this second half. They're certainly not finding as many holes, Mexico, as they did early on.
They're playing a lot deeper, more compact. They're playing not as deep, I would say. They're probably playing 10-15 yards high up the field. They've got close to the 3 strikers of Mexico, and they're not letting them drop off and pick the ball up in dangerous areas, and they've stopped the flow of the 2 fullbacks of Mexico.
Of course, you get a situation in a game like this where the underdogs get the lead and they relish the opportunity to try and hang on, and we're seeing that from South Africa here. Here's Rafa Marquez, the very experienced Mexico player, 90 caps he's won, the man from Barcelona. Out towards Rodriguez on the left, and then back to Marquez, but they were finding it very easy to knife through this South African team early on in this match. Not quite so easy now, and certainly not as easy since the goal went in. Medise to Pienaar, and they've got men over on the left, South Africa. Mpella just outside the penalty area. Mpella's shot deflected. Medise from point blank range is firing wide. The flag was up anyway, but just for a moment South Africa looked destined for a second goal.
Well, it wasn't the prettiest of finishes, was it? But terrific run. They look very dangerous on the break. He's offside and he's well weighed.
But more food for thought for Mexico, Chris, because they're looking defensively vulnerable now to the pace of South Africa on the counter-attack.
Well, I think that's what, first half, if you look at it, if you get down the sides of the 2 centre-halves, it's very easy. They're not mobile, they're not quick.
Here's Leth Sholonyani just outside the centre circle in the Mexico half, out towards Medise on the right. Infield again to Leth Sholonyani, and then forward towards Gaka, the right back, who's well forward as well. Medise now at the byline, delivers the cross into the middle, flicked away by Rodriguez. Dikachwa gets there first for South Africa. All he can do, though, is lift it back into the penalty area, lift it through to Perez, and the referee had spotted a foul anyway by Dikachwa, and he's given Mexico the free kick. And here they come over the halfway line, the team in black, who are preparing another change.
Blanco's one.
Yeah. Chris will check on the subs. I'll have a look at the game. Hernandez and Blanco. So 2 strikers on the way for Mexico. Here's Salcido on the left-hand side. Crossed into the middle towards Franco. Gets it down on the edge of the 6-yard box. Can't get the shot away. Retains possession for Mexico. Back to Salcido again. Sliding challenge on him by Leth Sholonyani. Ball thrown out of play, has it? Not according to the referee. And Medise's clearance goes all the way back to Oscar Perez, the Mexico goalkeeper. The 2 substitutes, Blanco and Hernandez, prepared to come on either side of the halfway line down below us, as Shabalala keeps the ball in play impressively on the left-hand side. Infield to Dikachwa, and then infield it goes to Leth Sholonyani. They're much more fluent in the second period, South Africa, leading Mexico by 1-0. Medise to Leth Sholonyani, then Medise plays the ball out towards the goal scorer Shabalala, out towards Masalela on the left full-back, and then forward to Mpella just outside the box. Mpella turns away from the defender, rolls it back then towards Stephen Pienaar, and then Pienaar to Chabalala, out towards Masalela, clip forward towards Mpella. The attack breaks down. It's 1-0 to South Africa. We're just past the midway point of the second half, and what's sure to be a very exciting end to the game will be brought to you by Alan Green.
Boy, football can be a silly game. You wouldn't have believed at half-time that Mexico could be behind in this match. But I have to say, actually, that there's the first change. Who's taken off there?
Vela. Blanco's on for Vela.
And no Hernandez yet. Not yet. But I think actually on what we've seen in the second half, South Africa deserved their goal. It was a great goal too.
I think it's been quite equal second half. I think they've used the counter-attack well. It was a terrific goal, as you rightly say, but I still think Mexico are dominating possession. Yeah, they haven't worked the goalkeeper apart from Dos Santos' shot, so it's probably one chance all. I think this is equal half, but first half Mexico are by far the better side.
Branco, the 37-year-old, missed with his first touch there, and South Africa have the ball again, and they're finding space here against Mexico, and it's a sprint forward by Gaka. The right fullback, great pass into the defender. That's surely a penalty.
Oh no!
Was that not a pullback?
No.
Wow. I must admit, I thought it was, Chris.
No.
But,
that is yellow card.
Yellow card.
Yeah.
More like a butcher's challenge. That was the
substitute.
The substitute, yes, Masalela. Well, I'd love to see that quote penalty incident again. What a challenge that was by Masalela. Shocking, absolutely shocking. Hernandez is about to come on shortly. So the replay of the incident. No, okay. Referee got it right again. Free kick to Mexico. Barely 20 minutes to go. The Vuvuzelas noisy, terrible free kick for Mexico. Overhit behind goal kick.
Well, he's definitely going to bring Hernandez on now. He's got his bib off. He's talking to him.
Well, it has to be for Franco.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Well, he's still not on, and he had the opportunity, the Mexican coach, to make the second change. South Africa 1, Mexico 0. It is a result that would have a far-lying consequence for the World Cup. If the host can get out of the group, this extraordinary atmosphere that we've witnessed over the last few days in Johannesburg and throughout and before this game today at Soccer City, that will be enhanced. It will be great for the tournament. Nevertheless, Mexico have looked the better team, but they trail 1-0 and there are only 19 minutes to go. Marquez to Tirado, the captain, and Tirado's pass wasn't great. Guardado somehow keeps the ball in Mexico's possession, slashing it back to the goalkeeper Perez, and out it goes away to the far side, and Aguilar and Hernandez is putting on a tracksuit top again. Can you understand that?
No, I can't, because they're desperate for a goal, and if he's been scoring in his friendlies have been leading up to this tournament. Franco's never looked like he's going to score. He had one good chance in the first half, fluffed it.
Here's Dos Santos though. Dos Santos being hustled though, loses the ball, and it's with the goal scorer Chabalala for South Africa, and then he loses the ball too. Mexico have it back. Mexico all in black.
He's on it.
At long last, Hernandez is going to come on.
Nope, changed his mind again.
No, he can't do. Surely not. I thought he should have started the game. But we'll see. We'll see what he can contribute in the remaining minutes. South Africa 1, Mexico 0 here in Group A of the World Cup. It's with Marquez, and they look rather pedestrian now. Mexico, far too slow in their build-up. Ball hit towards the left side. Salcido backheels it into a South African defender's shin. It's out of play for throw-in, and here's the expected substitution. Hernandez for Franco.
Yeah, waiting about 10 minutes for that.
And we've only got 17 minutes left for play. Immediately Hernandez goes to Branco. Fresh instruction for the 37-year-old, and the ball is thrown into play by South Africa. Medice, good ball to Impella, back on the halfway line it is, and they work their way forward, then Pina loses it. Guardado for Mexico to Franco, or not to Franco, to Franco, and then on it goes towards the Santos, cleared temporarily by South Africa, and the ball goes out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in to South Africa.
There's still going to be a threat with the three strikers they've got on Mexico. They will create another 2 or 3 good scoring opportunities.
I make it 28 minutes and 5 seconds of the second half have been played, and it's an extraordinary scoreline here in Johannesburg. South Africa 1, Mexico 0, after South Africa could have been 3 or 4 goals down at half-time. Brilliant strike though by Chabalala, left-footed. You won't see too many better long-range efforts from players in this World Cup than that one. On the far side, Branco in the white boots slides the ball in straight to a South African defender who lashes it out of play on the far side. Throw into Mexico. Carlos Alberto Pereira, you know, apart from that fantastic triumph with Brazil in 1994, you know, he's been dealing with Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and now here's South Africa. So minnows in World Cup terms, but his experience counts, and he certainly transformed South Africa at half-time, carrying much more threat in the second period. Torrado, the Mexican captain, to Guardado. Guardado midway inside the South African half, and then the cross is played in far too deep by Salcido, and that's behind for the goal kick. They've lost their way.
I think what's happened is South Africa have got close to them. They've not let them have the time on the ball, especially when they get within about 45 yards. They just start the centre circle. They've got close to them. They're really tight. They're capitalising on a bad first touch from any player in Mexico, and they're quite happy to sit deep and play on the counter-attack.
Kunai reasonably taking quite a while to take the goal kick. Finally plants it over the halfway line, and his side have the ball. Back with the captain, Mokoena. Mokoena to the goalkeeper once more. This is a deeper clearance for him. That might run all the way towards Mpela. Half cleared by Mexico. Picked up by South Africa again. The goal scorer, Chabalala. To Mpela. Back to Chabalala. Now the left fullback, the new left fullback, Masalela. Already booked in the game for a terrible challenge. That's a good move forward. Ball played in the penalty here, and out comes the goalkeeper Perez to dive in it.
Well, they've certainly been a different team in the second half. The way they've broken, when they've broke, they've actually passed the ball a lot quicker, a lot earlier, and they've benefited from it.
It was lost far too easily there by Mexico, and here's South Africa on the attack. Ball played in deep toward the far post, and there was a little nudge on Chabalala, just enough to put him off, and it's behind for a goal kick.
And again, using the sides, down the sides of the centre half very, very well.
The attendance 84,490, which mysteriously is over 10,000 below capacity. Why weren't all the seats sold? It's a mystery. 1-0 South Africa lead. Can they hold on for what would be a fantastic if unexpected victory against a really good side in Mexico? Guardado to the left side, and Branco, who tries to back heel the ball. Doesn't he look sluggish? Doesn't he look 37 years of age? Quite a belly on him. Who am I to talk? But I'm not 37.
Not waste.
38 last birthday. Branco with a throw-in, like an old man, throws to the edge of the penalty area. Dos Santos, like the youngster he is, tries to break forward. Then the ball breaks off a defender. To Branco again, who's offside, and it's a free kick to South Africa.
Well, they are running out of ideas. They've had no quality deliveries. Dos Santos has gradually gone out of his game. He's not getting the space.
No rush to take the free kick for Kunai. Just outside his penalty area. I'm sure the South Africans, countless thousands of them inside this stadium, can hardly believe that the team are leading a game that in the first half their team was totally outplayed. Maybe it was that little flurry of corners before half-time, and the opportunity for Mpela, who should have scored, had his head actually met the ball, the cross.
I think, to be fair, they haven't done a lot different. All they've done is they've worked harder. They've closed Mexico down a lot higher up slightly higher up the field, and they've got really close to people. They haven't let them play. They said, yeah, you can have it in your own half. We're not worried about that. When you get over halfway line, we'll get the ball back off you, and that's all they've done. They've moved the ball quicker, and they've worked harder.
Osorio for Mexico, just chipping it in the direction of Guardado. Guardado controls it. He's one of the substitutes. Plays it into the penalty area towards Hernandez, and it's beaten away by Mokoena for a corner.
Well, see if the corners are as good as they were in the first half. They could have scored 2-3 goals off the corners. They block people off very, very well, Mexico, which allows Marquez or Rodriguez a free header.
Blanco takes an illegal corner. The ball was outside the quadrant, not spotted by the linesman. Play allowed to continue. Here's Guardado. A few yards outside the penalty. Deep cross. Here's an opportunity, surely, for Mexico. And they've got the equaliser. Marquez has scored. 12 minutes left for play, and Marquez lacked the ball past the goalkeeper and looked to see if the flag would be raised for offside. It wasn't. He was onside, and it's South Africa 1, Mexico 1.
Well, what a simple goal. They've looked threatening at set pieces. One yellow shirt stays in. They all run out. There's 4 Mexican players waiting for the ball. Give Marquez credit, it comes at him at a decent pace. His first touch is immaculate, and it's a cool finish across the goalkeeper in the bottom corner. One stays in, all come up. Great first touch, lovely finish. Didn't panic. Nice crisp break. No goalie, no chance, and they deserved it.
And it was actually very poor South African defending, wasn't it? Because there were 3 Mexican players in there, none of them offside.
Well, one
Just
stayed
one
in.
defender.
One stayed in.
1-1. And the atmosphere changes again here. 11 minutes left for play here on 5 Live. Remember, every match from every ground of the World Cup brought to you on the BBC Sports Network. Now South Africa, having been in front, find themselves at 1-1. Shot played in. Goalkeeper makes a right hash of his save, and he's lucky that his punch went to a defender and is cleared by Mexico. He doesn't look bright either, Perez, does he?
No, I tell you, he did the right thing though, Alan. I know he punched it back into the box, which he shouldn't have, but that ball, what we're talking about, was moving everywhere.
Rodriguez to Osorio on the far side of the field. Mexican right, chip forward, headed away temporarily by South Africa. But maybe the momentum is back with Mexico again. Having been behind, it's 1-1, about 10 minutes to go, plus stoppage time. Blanco chips the ball in from the right side, gets it back. Blanco's only 15 yards inside the South African half. And now it's played towards the left side, but overhit. Salcido had no chance of getting there, and it's behind for a goal kick.
It was a good ball by Marquez. And, I just wonder if Pereira, does he want to win this game, or will he just settle on his draw? For me, I'd go 2 up front. I'd put Parker on to play alongside him. He was very quick and get down the sides. They can win this game, but
I'm not sure that he wouldn't just settle for the draw. Because frankly, before the game, I would have settled for a draw for South Africa's benefit. Anyway, Modise cutting in from the right side. Modise plays it back. Pinar lays it off. At least plenty of players forward for South Africa. And then they lose possession. Tirado to Juarez on the far side of the field, crossing the halfway line now. Hernandez is making the break inside left channel. Diving header cleared by McQueen. He had to get that right. And they're struggling actually to get the ball away from their own half, South Africa. It's with Guardado. Blanco says, give the ball to me. Blanco chips it forward, headed away once more by McQueen. Suddenly the pressure on South Africa again, and then it's driven forward, and Pella rushes after him. Look at the goalkeeper out of his penalty area. It's as well for him that Osorio makes the clearance, heading it into the opposing half. Chabalala to the left back, and then it's given away carelessly, and you can feel the anxiety increase amongst the home crowd. That's a great ball to the right side for Mexico, and like an old man, Blanco allows it to bounce, and it goes out of play for a throw-in.
I tell you what, there's hope for me yet.
Chris, you're in better shape than he is. You are definitely in better shape than he is. And he's playing in a World Cup. I'm in better shape than he is. No, that's going too far. Right, 8 minutes to go. South Africa 1, Mexico 1 here in 5 Live. We're going to get a change. Is it the one you want? Number 17. Parker.
Yep. But no, mate, he'd take the striker off.
Well,
I would play 2 up and go down the sides. There's gaps all over in that back 4. There's a lot of space. Parker's quick.
Make a name for himself, couldn't he? In the last few minutes, if he gets on and gets in an attacking position. As you say, he's very, very quick. Anyway, Mexico had the ball, then they lost the ball. Guardado was very careless. Counter-attack now for South Africa. It's fed forward, but he's offside. Made his run far too quickly.
Far too early. Pinar could have played it a lot earlier, and he has a substitution.
He's taking off Stephen Pinar. What do you make of that?
He's been limping over the last 5 minutes. I've been looking at Pinar. I don't know if he's had a hefty challenge or what, but he has been carrying some type of injury.
Well, you think now he does go 2 up front?
Well, I think they can win it if they just keep playing the balls down the side.
38 minutes played in the second half. Where is Parker going to take up position? Well, it looks like he may be going into Pinar's position, playing behind
the striker. Strange.
Anyway, play resumes with Mexico in possession. Then Dos Santos loses it, and it's clear to the halfway line. Knocked back by Osorio. Nice touch by Blanco. They better say something nice about him. Osorio again. Blanco's available, but ignored. It's played to the right side to Aguilar. And in towards Blanco, who couldn't lift his left foot high enough and as a result the ball bounced over it, and South Africa have it once more on this near side of the field with Gaka, the right fullback. They're certainly very athletic, South Africa, and it really suits them that these games are being played at altitude. Certainly all their games will be played at altitude. 1-1 here at Soccer City in Johannesburg. It would suit the hosts. Blanco now. Blanco chipping it towards Hernandez. Takes it on his left, onto his left foot, off his chest. Tried to get the shot in, then he falls over and is behind for a goal kick.
Well, it's got to be a corner at least. Great movement, great take on his chest. You can see he's very sharp around the box. One thing in his main, knew where the goal was. Terrific block.
6 minutes to go. There wasn't much in that. The goalkeepers, or the referee rather, decided that it's a goal kick. It's a goalkeeper that Kunai takes, driven over the halfway line, headed back by Marquez, scorer of the equaliser from Mexico. Rodriguez heads it forward. Then there's a push on Rodriguez, and it's a free kick to Mexico.
Got to say, Marquez has played very, very well, hasn't he? Scored the goal, but just playing in front of that back four, drops it in the back four times, but very rarely gives the ball away. Great positional sense.
Here he is again, Marquez to Rodriguez, and on to Osorio on the far side of the field. To Rodriguez. Marquez has got plenty of room and gets the ball once more. He's on the halfway line, picks out the pass. Salcido, cocky with the flick, loses it, then he wins it back. Ball breaks to Blanco. Blanco was tripped, and it's a free kick to Mexico.
I think Blanco will take this as well. He wants to take a quick one. Come on, referee. Look.
Well, there are two South African players standing right in front of the ball. One of them moves away, and the second one reluctantly moves away. The referee could have done something there.
Marquez strikes the ball fantastic. He tried a free kick first off, tried to bend it, didn't he? He just wants someone out to go up there, really hit that ball.
5 minutes to go. South Africa 1, Mexico 1 in the opening game of the 2010 World Cup. Blanco's going to take the free kick. Marquez runs away from the ball. He's available to head it. Blanco chips it into the penalty area. Well defended that by South Africa. Cleared high and away. And then Guardado flicks it only to an opponent. What can Medici do? It's played down the right-hand side. South Africa looking to counter-attack here. It's with Parker. Parker falls over. He wasn't fouled. Doesn't get the free kick. And Mexico counter-attack. Over the halfway line now. Osorio. Osorio was chipped. Was he tripped there? Little trip?
No, well done, referee.
He was certainly looking for the free kick.
He was looking for it, never got it. Referee did very well.
So what's his decision? You're going to have a word with Osorio, who's running away, and the referee, who's had a brilliant game, tells him to cut it out. It's actually a free kick to South Africa. 4 minutes left for play. 1-1 here in Soccer City. Rather overhit the free kick, and it rushes through to Perez. Perez pulls the ball out underarm to Rodriguez, and on to Marquez. Probably the man of the match, Marquez, and not just for the technique that brought the equaliser for Mexico. Rodriguez to the far side of the field, and Aguilar back to Osorio. This game is still here for the winning. You wouldn't be surprised if one of these teams takes all 3 points. Marquez to Guardado, and Guardado hits it away toward the far side of the field. That's running awkwardly.
That's a super ball. That's a super ball, isn't it?
Couldn't control it. It's out of play for a throw-in.
See the bounce on that, and he didn't really put any height on it.
Throwing to South Africa. 3 minutes and counting to go in the opening game. Later, remember, 7:30, listen on 5 Live to France against Uruguay from Cape Town. And tomorrow the match that, of course, the nation awaits. England-USA, 7:30, your time in the UK. And that's coming from Rustenburg. Chris and I will be heading up a bumpy road, I'm told, tomorrow. They'd like something ridiculous like 9 hours for the journey. I think we're on a pony. So we've altered that quote departure time. Now Blanco on the far side of the field. Blanco, lovely little chip. Torrado, the captain, will keep it in play. Goes to the corner 5. Back it goes to Juarez. Blanco again. Blanco turns it onto his left foot. Towards outside the penalty. Crosses in towards Hernandez. Hernandez, free header, heads it wide and high.
Why doesn't he let it go? Why doesn't he let it go? Salido's behind him. He's just got to shout and put his name on it. He can take it on his chest.
Couple of minutes left for play here. South Africa 1, Mexico 1. Guardado will lose that inside the centre circle. I think he followed a South African player at the same time. Ball breaks to Parker. Parker on to Medici from the right, pulls it in low, might break to Parker, doesn't. Breaks instead to a Mexican player, Guardado, who clears. And Dos Santos, who've seen very little over the last 5 or 10 minutes, sprints over the halfway line into the South African half. No movement from Blanco, he can't move quickly. He's like a juggernaut, stuck. All the tires punctured, but he shoots left-footed, and it headed away by the defender. And once more, Cosabella Pereira screaming at his side to get further forward, get away from the danger area, but it breaks down that South African move. Dos Santos into Guardado now approaching the penalty here, still running forward. The ball's inside the box, but it's played back to the goalkeeper Kunai, and Kunai's got plenty of time to clear it and hit it over the halfway line. A minute to go, and Pella might be in here from the long clearance into the penalty area. Oh, he hits the post! It could have been 2-1 South Africa.
That is absolutely unbelievable. A goalkeeper's kick and he's got in on it. It was like watching a pub game, that. Defending absolutely shocking. How can you get in off a goalkeeper kicking the ball in the 6-yard box?
I didn't believe
he's got a free run on goal.
And then I thought, he's got to score. He has to score.
Under 11s.
So it's gone from Sunday League to under 11s. Anyway, Mexico come forward again, having survived that, to say the least, scare. Dos Santos chips the ball to the left side. Blanco brings it under control, taps it back. Salcido with a shot, mishits it, gets it onto his left foot. Another opportunity. Ball breaks off a defender, and then Blanco feeds it into the penalty area, straight through to the goalkeeper. Wants to hit it long, and hits it brilliantly long towards Parker on the right side. Parker gets there, just to the right of the Mexican penalty area. Time's almost up. Parker on his left foot crosses towards the far post, and then Pella didn't make a run for the ball, and it's behind for a goal kick.
He's their best passer, the goalkeeper. That was a terrific volley to Parker down this right hand side, all of what, 70-80 yards.
And you know something, the goalkeeper Perez sort of moved inside and said, look, beat me on the near post, it's easy. 3 minutes of time being added on here. Quite a finish. South Africa 1, Mexico 1. Blanco, that's a lovely ball to the far side to Juarez now into Dos Santos, few yards outside the penalty, back to Blanco. The Vuvuzelas have never been noisier. Guardado to the left side, and Salcido. What's wrong there? Offside. There
we go, goalkeeper.
Here he comes.
There they go.
And Palace through the
saw the goalie off his lane.
He saw Perez off his line
have a word.
Shot from 85 yards.
Have a word. He can't do that.
He tried it. I thought, you're not heading it in the right direction, goalkeeper. And then I suddenly realised he was shooting at goal. He wasn't shooting for Impella. Right, calm down. 90 seconds of added time remaining. 1-1 here at Soccer City in Johannesburg. They're on the attack, Mexico. And then Hernandez slips inside the penalty area. And it's with Chavalala, who puts South Africa in front, and he's looking for Impella. And out comes Perez, and he heads it out of play. Not out of play, actually. Didn't get the header correctly, but now it's hit out by Osorio. Throw into South Africa.
I can't believe South Africa have not used that ploy more in the game. Not about the goalkeepers kicking all the time, but defenders. And Bella's got so much legs on the 2 centre-half, but never used it hardly.
At times in the first half, the quality was not great, but I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the scrap. And I'm still not sure if we're not going to get a winner here. 1-1. 1 minute of added time remaining. South Africa on the attack. And then that attack was wasted, and Blanco clears to Hernandez on the halfway line. And they look quick here, Mexico. Marquez into the centre circle, didn't get his pass right, comes out off a shin, a South African shin, and it's going to be a throw into Mexico. South Africa will make a change. Dombete,
18.
That's how you pronounce it. You can mention his name. Not getting on yet. Only seconds remaining. Blanco crosses the ball. I think that'll hit the referee. And they can't clear it, South Africa. They're looking a bit tired here, and that's well played. Getting it away. And it's up to Parker. Parker feeds it on. Good tackle coming in on Parker. The catchway on the far side of the field, the Fulham player. Heading it cross field. And goodness gracious, if Impella had known there was a man behind him, he'd let it run. But it's still South Africa on the attack. And then the final whistle has been blown.
How about the sub?
It has been blown. The sub doesn't make it. Doesn't get his appearance fee. And we get 1-1, Chris.
Well, what an extraordinary game. Mexico absolutely fabulous to watch first half, and South Africa didn't prove second half. They played very tight at the back, got close to Mexico, didn't let them play their flowing football. Terrific goal on the counter-attack, could have won it at the end, but overall I would say Mexico are the better of the two, but give South Africa credit for the second half performance. But a very entertaining game.
I'm almost out of breath. 1-1.